Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here just to introduce myself and my business to you guys. I'm from Johannesburg and I came here late last night, so it was a revelation to see your beautiful surroundings this morning. In this presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, my compounding pharmacy, and then I'm going to give you a short introduction to what a pharmaceutical quality system is, because that forms a big part of my business. So to start off with myself, I studied pharmacy at the Northwest University in Potchefstroom. After that, I completed my master's degree in pharmaceutical sciences. In South Africa, you have to do community service. I ended up in a jail in Boksburg doing a community service for a year, treating inmates. And after that, I wondered, what am I going to do? Am I going to study veterinary sciences? I wanted to become a vet, and I decided now I spent too much time and effort on this. I'm going back and I'm doing my PhD in the same field. And in my PhD, my speciality focus was peptide drug delivery. Whilst doing the PhD, I was a lecturer in biopharmaceutics. For people who don't know what biopharmaceutics is, that's the study of how a molecule or a drug molecule gets released from a dosage form, absorbed into the body, travels to the site where it's doing its work, and then how your body gets rid of this drug again. How is it excreted so that the drug is completely out of your body? After my PhD, I did a 2-year postdoc fellowship at the same university in transdermal drug delivery. That field of science is difficult because the skin is made to keep drugs out or keep dangers out of the body. And now pharmacists and doctors want to use the skin as a delivery media. So we want to press drugs through your skin so you can put your hormone cream on the skin and it can go into your body, and there's certain advantages of that. So I supervised a couple of master's degree students during that period of time. After my studies, now I'm this academic and I need to find my feet in the world. So I traveled around locally in retail pharmacies. I ended up in a small clinical research facility in Brits, not very far from where I am now. I participated in a few clinical trials. One of them that was very interesting was an intravaginal ring that contained a little bit of an antiretroviral drug, and that allowed women to choose whether she can try and protect herself against HIV. In Africa, a condom sometimes is something that males do not allow, and women don't have the choice of added protection. And that clinical trial was just to test the safety of that ring. The efficacy trial is currently still going on to see how effective is it. I also participated in a tuberculosis clinical trial where we changed one of the current regime drugs to moxifloxacin to see if we can shorten the treatment period from 9 months to 6 months. After that, my interest lies in manufacturing and formulation and preparation of medicine. So I ventured into some pharmaceutical manufacturing. I ended up at Reckitt Benckiser in Elandsfontein, Johannesburg, where I was the quality assurance pharmacist. Now, whenever you drink a tablet or you get medicine from the pharmacy, somewhere in a little dark office under a lot of pressure is a pharmacist going through all the manufacturing documents and import documents to make sure that discipline tablet you take went through all the proper procedures and there's nothing wrong with it, and it will work like it will work and it will not damage your body. And I had to do that horrible job for a while. Disprin, Gaviscon, Transact and Dettol were some of the examples of the drugs that I was responsible for to make sure that that it's all good and well. After that, I decided I wanted to have my own pharmaceutical business now, and I started Magaliesberg Pharmaceuticals. In there I have a tablet press, a capsule machine, a big stainless steel pot, which I use to make tablets and capsules and gels and creams and ointments. And out of that business came the need for certain stuff that I cannot do in my farm, in the factory. People ask for preparations or medicines that's not doable in a larger scale, and that's how MBB Compounding Pharmacy came about. I also started a black economic empowered business called Tulani Pharmaceuticals, which we are going to focus on antiparasitic drugs, to have generic drugs on the market that we manufacture in South Africa. To summarize, the business is based in Skeerpoort, that's close to Hartbeespoort Dam in Johannesburg. The name comes from the Magaliesberg mountain range, and I thought it's a good name for my business because I would like this business to last after my involvement in it and to improve people's lives after that. We've got currently 20 employees, and one of our philosophies is we spend lots of time at work, more time than with your family, and my employees have ownership of our business, so everybody talks of my business, and that makes me happy and it makes them happy as well. And this is just a short timeline. Since 2008, when I was studying, I founded that business doing herbal extracts and tinctures. In 2013, that's after my Reckitt Benckiser employment, I started working full-time in my own business, and we did the tablets and capsules and semi-solids. And because it's such a small business, most of my clients are small business people who have a dream to start a new product, and they only have that. I had to formulate all the products for them, so I formulated about 100 different capsules and tablets and gels and creams since I started this, and helped start new businesses and improve their current formulations that they have. I'm a son of a miner, and he was a contractor, and from the start of this business, he said, Jacques, if you buy a machine, you must have work for the machine. Because I wanted this machine and I wanted that, but there's nothing to pay for this machine. And I couldn't get my head around how am I going to do the work if I don't have the machine. And he says you first need the machine before you buy, you first need to work before you can buy the machine. And I was able to actually do that with the pharmacy license. The lady contacted me, and she's more of a natural or alternative practitioner, and they make use of Schussler tissue salts. And she sends me a list, a current patient, and she's got a list of 27 tissue salts, and she wants me to make individualized blends of these tissue salts for each and every patient. And that small little business was enough to cover the extra overheads to start my compounding pharmacy with a scale. That's all we used. After that, I crossed paths with a veterinarian, and you will see my compounding pharmacy, most of my interesting projects is related to animals. The reason for that is big pharma, it's easy to cater for humans because we are the species most abundant on earth, so the most money is there. But animals, there are so many different species that they don't cover, they don't cater for all of that, and that is when I come in. I can help with any problems, or not any, but I can help solve problems. And that's when me and Dr. Botha crossed paths, and from that time till about the end of 27, I started to really upgrade my facilities to be able to do sterile compounding. And last year we commissioned the heating, ventilation and air conditioning system to make sure that each preparation area is clean and up to standard to ensure that we can give the optimum quality on the products and for our customers. Okay, to sum it up a little bit, my speciality, but it's actually my passion when I come to think of it, is the formulation and preparation of medicine. And my business model is to focus only on that, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have cross paths with customers whose passion is marketing. So we complement each other, and I can focus purely on my passion and establishing the state-of-the-art facility to practice that each day. My current business partners is Dr. Okker Botha, the veterinarian. His business name is VetScripts. Restore, that's the lady with the tissue salts. And then I compound all the weight loss injections for Slender Wonder. That's a relatively well-known weight loss company in South Africa. And that's basically my 3 clients and 3 invoices that I send out in a month. I only supply the veterinarians and they pay the bill at the end of the month. I want to mention some interesting projects that I'm involved with. With Helfran Pharmaceuticals, they're an infertility specialist pharmaceutical company, and I am manufacturing or compounding a sperm wash that they use to clean sperm before in vitro fertilization of human eggs. And from the knowledge that we got there, I was able to formulate a sperm-friendly lubricant for people battling to fall pregnant. A normal lubricant kills sperm, so with this lubricant we know we don't affect the sperm negatively. The 2 main people I work with is Franco Ferreira, the owner of Helfran Pharmaceuticals, and Professor Gerard van der Horst, a sperm specialist at the University of Western Cape. At the end of last year, a person called Monet Dalaray, his business is Embryo Plus in Brits, Northwest Province. He had a problem. They want to collect oocytes from rhinos, and they wanted medicine to stimulate ovulation of the rhinos. And normally when they go through all the effort of darting a rhino, they can only collect 1 egg cell from that cow. And I had to formulate a medicine that they put in the dart, and it was a thermosensitive gel, so at temperatures below 8 degrees Celsius it's got a very low viscosity, and the moment it heats up to body temperature it solidifies and it releases the drug slowly, and that slow release of this specific hormone stimulates ovulation. And Katrina and Olivia are both 2.5 ton rhino cows, and there are pictures of the egg cells that he was able to collect with only 1 procedure. The other stuff that we use the same hormone as a small implant in lionesses. Some of the lion farmers like to skip cycles, so this year they don't want this lioness to fall pregnant, and then they use this implant once a year to keep them from falling pregnant. I made a doxycycline eye suspension for dogs and cats. The challenge there was doxycycline is a very unstable drug. The moment you put it in water, it breaks down. And in an eye, we need a specific particle size, so we decrease the particle size of the doxycycline to under 10 micrometers, and I put it in a solvent where it is stable, and we are able to treat dogs and cats with ulcers in the eyes. And to sum up the veterinary compounding, we can treat anything from a 1 kilogram Yorkshire Terrier to an elephant, and we have done that. Getting involved with the weight loss, I formulated a nasal spray with recombinant human chorionic gonadotropin, and that is a very large drug molecule. To give you an idea, a disprin molecule will be the size of this machine, and HCG will be the size of this whole clinic. And you can imagine the challenge it is to get that molecule to be absorbed across membranes. And luckily in my PhD, I learned about an absorption enhancer that opens the spaces between the epithelial cells in your nasal cavity. And these large molecules can then go in between these cells directly into the bloodstream, in the nose, and you don't have to inject that hormone each day.
This is real HCG?
HCG.
Because there is HCG diet, which is completely different. HCG diet, do you remember?
This is
hormone.
Yes.
Itself, but instead of injecting it to the blood, you do it nasal. Distribution.
Yes. You can also see this is a recombinant one. The natural one that you find in urine of a pregnant woman, the size is about 150,000 grams per mole, and I couldn't get that to work, so I used the recombinant one from a product called Ovidrel from MSD. So that's half the size, so it's much easier to get that across the nasal mucosa. Another interesting thing, a guy called John Hamlet. For the foreign visitors, we've got an ultra marathon that runs between Pietermaritzburg and Durban called the Comrades Marathon. And he approached me, he wanted a hydration drink for his athletes to get optimum absorption of electrolytes and water into the body during the race. And I formulated a hypotonic hydration drink, and those are the winners. And I believe one of those actually has one of the records as well. So that's the only hydration that drink is the one that we mix with English. That's a combination of salts and carbohydrates and sugar. It was a very basic experimentation. Normally he stands next to the road with two hands, Coke, Powerade, water, and a drink, and then the athlete flicks with his hands to one of the two hands, then he knows that one, he divides it in two again, and then they chose one. And at the end of our development process, they ended up choosing that salty, sugary drink. Each time there's no flavors in it, tastes awful, but after about 50 or 60 kilometers, this is what they want and it works. So that's basically a summary of the pharmacy. I quickly want to just explain to you where I fit in current good practices. Current good practices is a term used in the pharmaceutical industry, and it started more or less after the Second World War with experimentation in humans, and certain big mishaps that happened. The thalidomide crisis was an anti-nausea medicine that was given to pregnant women, and it ended up causing malformations of many babies. And an organization called the International Committee of Harmonization was founded, and they defines the current good practices used during the value-added chain of a new medicine idea. So typically it starts off in a laboratory. A professor discovers a new molecule, and they use good laboratory practice to document the whole process to prove that it works. After that, a big pharma company and its shareholders decides, listen, this shows promise, let's go and do some research on it. So there's three phases in it. First, they just see how is it absorbed, normally pharmacokinetics, from 10 to 30 patients. After that, if they see it's absorbed well, they want to make sure that it is safe. So then they start the phase 2 clinical trials. That's normally a lot more patients, and over a period of time they make sure that there's no adverse effects and that these medicines are actually safe for use in humans. And only after that they go into a phase 3 clinical trial where they make sure that it's effective, the medicine works. And that process actually never stops. So for the whole life cycle of that medicine, they keep on monitoring that molecule to make sure A good example in our country or in the world is the quinolone debacle where ciprofloxacin is now under the spotlight because certain people get these severe adverse effects, debilitating adverse effects. And on our television stations, it was there, but nobody, all the pharmaceutical companies said, sorry, we apologize, but nobody explained to the people, listen, it can happen, and that's why we have these processes in place. So when we discover something later, 15 years on, we can detect it and we can stop the process. After the medicine is approved and registered at the different pharmaceutical authorities, it comes to manufacturing plant, and good manufacturing practice is then followed at your manufacturing facilities. One of these steps is good distribution practice. It happens from time to time that release pharmacists discover a problem and we need to get the medicine back. And if the good distribution practice is not in place, it's almost impossible to get that medicine back and out of circulation cheap and cost effectively. If you don't do that, you need to go to each patient that received that batch number of medicine and get it back from them, and it's a big headache to all the companies. And then the last step where my pharmacy comes in is good pharmacy practice. So each one of these has its own guidelines and we follow that. And the whole goal of it all is to protect the patient's right, safety and well-being. The basis of that is data integrity. So everything we do must be traceable. We must be able to reconstruct what happened. So that accounts for that all those steps I showed you, sent from the laboratory. If somebody does something wrong or don't document it right, it can have severe impacts later on in the whole process. And our pharmacy, we align with those practices. Because data integrity is so important, you can imagine that documentation forms the basis of this whole system. And here's just a summary of what documents is used during this whole step. It's a risk-based approach, so we always see what can go wrong, how easy can we detect what goes wrong, and if something goes wrong, how severe is it? Will somebody die, will somebody not die? Or what is the cost implications of it all? And it all comes down to the right safety and well-being of our patients. And this is just a couple of documents and processes that you follow. One of them, for example, is change control. I can start off with the initial formulation and a couple of years later, it looks completely different, and then we wonder how did we end up there. So our change control documents all these changes so that we know exactly what happened and how it happened and how did we come to that point. We have customer complaints, so whenever there's something goes wrong, whether it is an adverse event or somebody just complains about the way the product was shipped, we investigate it, we do a report, and we have corrective and preventative actions to fix it and to prevent this thing from happening again. And these good current practices is an ever-improving system. So we get a mistake, we fix it, we prevent it from happening. And we see where can we improve the system, and that is also probably one of the main reasons why medicines is becoming so expensive. Because these systems are improving, and if somebody gets something that they can add to make something better, they do it, and that all contributes to the cost of everything. So we do highly skilled compounding in my pharmacy. We are aligned with the pharmacy quality systems. We follow good current principles, and we emphasize traceability, accountability, from formulation of medicine till the dispensing and shipping thereof. Is there any questions somebody might ask me?
Yeah, I wanna make sure the SCG that you're doing is not the SCG dye that's in Amazon. it's real HCG works on HCG receptors, because in the United States we do injection of HCG, costs too much of money and it's not convenient. If the nasal spray that you have is equivalent to HCG injection, that's a huge thing, because now in the United States they do HCG diet, but it's not HCG, it's more or less nutraceutical, but they call it HCG diet.
Yeah, you saw on the presentation, I buy Ovidral from MSD and I use that recombinant. They are the only suppliers of recombinant HCG in the world.
So it works on the receptor of HCG, and it stops the appetite.
No, it doesn't stop the appetite.
So how it's working?
These Slender Wonders weight loss program, HCG, the human chorionic gonadotropin, is used in a very low dose, and it stimulates a small amount of testosterone production in the body. So when you follow a diet, one of two things happens. First, you starve yourself a little bit, and your body must get energy from somewhere. So we want to break down fat. So they use the HCG to stimulate testosterone and that little bit of anabolic effect to protect the protein in the muscles, so that you only lose fat and not protein.
So the idea of HCG decrease appetite is not.
No, it's
Not the real mechanism.
No.
Because what they said, or how they brought the whole of HCG, that they say that the pregnant woman at the beginning of the third trimester, she will lose the appetite, and that's because of the HCG in her body, and that's how they carry
Yes. It might, yeah, in that case it might be, we use about a typical dose of the normal natural HCG is 10,000 IUs per injection. We administer 125. It's a very low dose.
Yeah,
So I think it might, at a very high dose, it might, I don't know the actual
because the
quantity.
idea is that at the beginning of the trimester also, the ladies, they smell the food like bad and they hate the food. So that's the reason they brought this to lose appetite and make you even hate the food and the smell of the food, and that helps you to crave.
In our
So it's more of testosterone production and reproduction of muscle. So you don't have anything that shows it for the appetite. Okay.
So I know the program very well. I have quite a couple of patients on the program, and on Slender Wonder, and I was wondering, the risk of breast cancer it's a warning that would come with the HCG injection. So, you're talking about a really low dose that stimulates testosterone production in the body. So, what studies have you done to show the level of, cancers coming from an HCG?
There's actually research done to show that women who fall pregnant at an early age has a lower risk of getting breast cancer. And there's also studies that shows that administration of HCG has cancer protective effects. So there's scientific papers. If you want, you can just leave your name and I'll let Slender Wonder forward you the.
Yeah, no, because it's on the actual program. When you.
There's cancer. Yeah, no, we've got. My whole Slender Wonder project works actually with Delphine Pharmaceuticals, because Francois is very knowledgeable in that, because he knows the molecule inside and out, and different stages of pregnancy the HCG molecule looks differently, the conformations, and we are very, it will actually protect from chronic cancer at the doses of administered.
So you said it's increasing the testosterone. Is that something you can do for sexual, increase the sexual desire for the men, sexual dysfunction, or
Yes,
muscles?
let me show you.
Muscles for sport medicine. And the same thing, testosterone itself.
Yes, you can. Let me just see. Injections to stimulate breeding in African grey parrots. African grey parrot, at some point in time, it's almost like cannabis, you want to breed with parrots. They're beautiful, they make nice noises, and there's nothing so beautiful as that ugly little naked pigeon in a nest. So now you typically go out and you buy an African grey parrot. They take 3 to 5 years to get sexually mature, and then they don't breed. Okay, so together with Dr. Botha, that same hormone that we use for the rhino cows, we combine that with HCG. In males, you can use an implant in a male dog to sterilize it for a year. But after the injection, you get a boost of testosterone with this Verolin, and that, I don't know what's the correct word, puts this male African grey parrot in the mood to make love. And then we also give it to the female parrot to stimulate ovulation, and with that we give HCG. I think you will see HCG can also be used to treat atrophy of the testes. So at some point in time, if you work in a pharmacy, you get this big guy coming in buying insulin syringes, and then a couple of months later his girlfriend comes in and asks something for the bill. Okay, so what you use to treat that atrophy of the testes is also HCG. Yeah, so it's possible to improve.
So do you have any answer for decreasing the appetite and making people hate food and smell the food bad? They're using HCG injection for that. Have you done any?
No.
So if we do nasal spray, high dose, you don't think it will lead to that effect?
That I leave for the doctors writing the prescriptions myself. If you've got the problem, I will solve it, but I leave the clinical aspects normally to my customers. I only supply them, so they get the problem and I fix it. Luckily, I did some reading to answer all your questions now, but normally I focus on formulation and stability and make sure that what I give you is what you want.
Yep. Any more questions for Dr. Libber? Thank you, Doctor. It was very interesting. Thank you.